video is part of my 12 Cookies of Christmas series 2023, where I explore the Christmas cookies of 12 different European countries. In today's video, I'm sharing with you a Polish cookie called Łamańce z Makiem. This is a wafer-thin butter cookie that you dip in a poppy seed filling. And this is a special recipe because it was actually sent to me from a Polish subscriber, and this recipe comes from her grandmother's cookbook. So join me today as I share with you how to make this, as well as some Polish Christmas traditions, and stick with me to the very end where I will give you a sneak peek of tomorrow's video, the very last one in this series. Let's get started. First, we're going to begin by making the butter cookies. Add 300 grams or 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour to a bowl with 100 grams or 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar. Whisk that together and then add 120 grams or 8.5 tablespoons of room temperature unsalted butter. Work that into the dry ingredients until it resembles wet sand. Then make a well in the center of your flour and add 1 egg plus 1 egg yolk and 1 teaspoon vanilla and 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Then work everything together until you have a smooth dough. Then wrap your dough in plastic wrap and refrigerate it for 30 minutes or until firm. Remove your dough from the fridge and then cut it in half and roll it out in 2 sections. I found it easiest to roll out on floured parchment paper. The original recipe said to roll out the dough to 1/8 of an inch or 1/3 of a centimeter thick. I found that cookies this thin broke easily when scooping the poppy seed dip, so I'd recommend rolling it out a little bit thicker to about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 a centimeter thick. Now, using a knife or a pastry cutter, cut 2-inch or 5 centimeter wide diagonal strips, and then repeat the same cuts in the opposite direction to create rhombuses. And you'll see from some of my confused cuts here that it took me a few minutes to wrap my head around which direction to cut them in order to make a rhombus shape. Now transfer your cuts to a parchment-lined baking sheet, and you can place them pretty close together because they don't spread during baking. Bake them in a 350 degree Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius preheated oven for 8 to 10 minutes or until lightly golden. Keep a close eye on them because they do tend to burn easily. Then place them on a rack to cool while you make the poppy seed paste. Rinse 500 grams or 3.5 cups of poppy seeds in water and then drain them and strain them in a fine mesh sieve. Then place them in a medium-sized pot and cover them with boiling water, and then let them simmer for 30 to 60 minutes or until soft enough that they slightly mash when rubbed between your fingers. Then you're going to drain the cooked poppy seeds in a fine mesh sieve and then grind them. And the original recipe said to grind them twice through a meat grinder. But I don't have a meat grinder, so I'm using my immersion blender. I did read that they need some kind of pressure in order to grind properly, so I'm pressing down with my blender as I grind them. I do imagine though that a high-speed blender like a Vitamix would work well for this too. Poppy seeds hold a place of importance in Poland. The red poppy is considered the unofficial flower of Poland, and it symbolizes remembrance and gratitude towards those who fought and died for Poland's freedom over the years. The seed itself has also held much significance in Slavic culture throughout the centuries. Poppy seeds symbolize happiness and prosperity for the coming year, so it's considered important to consume them in large quantities on Christmas Eve. And because of this, some kind of poppy seed dessert is usually one of the 12 dishes served at a Polish Christmas Eve dinner. 12 for each of the months of the coming year, as well as for each of the 12 apostles. Some traditional Polish desserts that include poppy seeds are the one I'm showing you today, Łamańce z Makiem, as well as a poppy seed roll, a poppy seed cake, and noodles with poppy seeds. So you'll see here that I've added 50 grams or 3.5 tablespoons of unsalted butter to a pot with 250 grams or 1¼ cup of sugar, 4 tablespoons of honey, and the zest of 1 lemon. Mix that all together and let it dissolve, and then add in your ground poppy seeds. Now add in 50 grams or 1/2 cup of candied orange peel, 50 grams or 1/3 cup of raisins, and 50 grams of chopped or sliced almonds. Mix that all together, and if your mixture seems a little dry, you can add in 120 milliliters or 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Let this simmer for 10 to 15 minutes, stirring frequently, and then take it off the heat and stir in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. Transfer it to a bowl to cool slightly, and while it's cooling, beat 2 room temperature egg whites until they've reached stiff peaks. Then fold them into the warm poppy seeds. This will help to lighten the mixture and make it easier to scoop with the cookies. Let the poppy seed paste cool before serving, and to serve it, spoon it into a serving dish and then place the cookies point side up in the paste. All the cookies in this series, this is by far the most unique. I've never had a cookie before that you dip into something. So let's give this a taste. I really like that. The butter cookie has a wonderful texture, and the poppy seed dip is delicious. It's sweet with that intense poppy seed flavor, but you can also taste the almond and the vanilla extracts in there. And I love the little pop you get from the raisins and the candied orange, and the crunch from the almonds. It has a great texture. As I've said on my channel before, poppy seed is a very distinct flavor. And if you grew up in the US, you may have never had a poppy seed filled dessert before. And in my experience, you either love it or you hate it. I personally love poppy seed, but my husband and children do not. But I still think that this dessert is worth giving a try, because you never know, you might absolutely love it like I do. And I just wanted to say thank you to my subscriber Blanca. Thank you so much for taking the time to find this recipe and translate it for me and answer all of my questions about it, and even teach me how to pronounce it. Łamańce to Makiem. How did I do? Thank you for all of your help in producing this video. Make sure to hit the notification bell on the subscribe button if you haven't already, so that you don't miss any of the other videos in this series. And I will put the playlist to the series at the end of the video if there are any that you'd like to catch up on that you haven't seen already. And I will see you tomorrow, but until then, check out the sneak peek of the last video.